AMKS, Goddess Radio, saying what you think, too afraid to say. Grow a heart, universe, stand up for something, or you will definitely fall for everything. People considering blame over the wreckage of our CIA past since they've opened up the CIA files. God, by the time we catch up with where they're really at, we're just going to be out of time. People don't get that. It's okay, though. My son's in there singing, way. You know what I mean? So, what I'm trying to say is that if we don't stop fretting over what's already been done, we're never going to get ahead. I can't listen to you, Marcelino. So, in this world that we live in today, I don't take it lightly what people say anymore. You know what I mean? Because we've been brainwashed and kicked out of our own minds. What, baby? What? 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 She likes to meow. That's a special needs cat. She loves me with all her might. You know what I mean? See that meow? Meow. 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 She doesn't know what I'm doing. Okay, so like here we are. So this guy posted this. I've been talking about the mud floods, flat earth, you know, all the crap that everybody else is talking about. But I've been doing it for a decade or longer. You know what I mean? And this is the Adam and Eve story by Chan Thomas. Cross sections of the earth. That's the ley lines. And when our ley lines get interfered with, it causes catastrophe. Have an iPhone? Share web pages. I don't have an iPhone. So, the passion and perils of the natural hood, heritage and revelation. Revolution. Revolution. The nukes. When they were testing the beef bomber. You know what I mean? Great Britain is on its way. Brothers. It says, brothers. Great, we're on our way, brothers. Is that funny? I think that's funny. Especially if you think about what the great cause was. Full disclosure, that's what we're doing today. Full disclosure. Trying to get dressed to go somewhere at 6 and it's 5 now, so I'm working at it. Work in progress, right? Not perfection. Anyway. So. Anyway, this guy says, it was science that could happen only in the House of Commons. Thereof, the front row, sprawled the Prime Minister, he feet propped on the table beside the dispatch box, where his Chandler of Executioner droned on profoundly. Britain's finance. Oh, that just all looks like Blummer, huh? And the people, like we're not owned. Diana Lynn Bates. Oh, what's that mean? Kept yourself morally clean. Diana Lynn Bates, 37, 23, 37, in the structure of Teenagers Assembly Hall in the Salt Lake City. Nelson Rockefeller Jr. The Adam and Eve story. The next cataclysm. I thought this was really cool. With a rumble and a low as to the inaudible growling, throbbing, and then forming into the thundering roar, the earthquake started. Only it's not like the earthquake in recorded history. I gotta post you guys live on air. This is AMKS Goddess, and I say what you think and are too afraid to say. Grow a heart already, for Christ's sakes. You only got one life to live. You know what I mean? So, if you can't do it now, don't do it at all, right? Anyway, in California, the mountains shake like ferns in the breeze, and the mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into a mountain of water more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward. Then the thunder rolls. You know what I mean? That's pretty good, right? Story of Adam and Eve. This is a PDH file that I'm reading to you anyway. PDH file that's supposed to be from the CIA, and the phone is being stupid right now, so it does that on occasion, or it won't let me send anything out. I don't know about you, but I've been told. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, so there, I'm done with that. So let's go on, shall we? And it's still being stupid. The phone is still being stupid. In it, bam, there it is. How you doing? So, this is AMKS Goddess Radio, and I'm reading from the Declassified in Part. Sanctionized copies approved for release 2013-06-24. So, in June 24th, 2013, a CIA RDP79BOO752A 003007001-8. This is in California, mountains shook like the ferns in the breeze. The mighty Pacific rears back and piles up into the mountains of water more than 2 miles high, then starts its race eastward with a force of 1,000 armies. The wind attacks, ripping, shredding everything in its supersonic bombardment. The unbelievable mountain of the Pacific seawater follows the winds eastward, burying into Los Angeles and San Francisco as if they were but grains of sand. Wow, that's deep, right? Nothing but nothing stops the relentless, overwhelming onslaughts of the wind and ocean. Across the continents, the thousands-mile-per-hour wind shrieks its unholy vengeance everywhere, mercilessly, unceasingly. Every living thing is ripped into shreds while being blown across the countryside, and the earthquake leaves no place untouched. In many places, the earth's molten sublayer breaks through and spreads a sea of white-hot liquid fire to add to the holocaust. With 3 hours, a frantic wall of water moves across the continents, burying a wind-ravaged land under 2 miles of seething water coast to coast. In a fraction of a day, all vastly of civilizations are gone, and the greatest cities of Los Angeles, San Francisco, Chicago, Dallas, New York are nothing but legends, barely a stone left, where millions walked just a few hours before. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is AMKS Goddess Radio, and I say what you think, and I think you're too afraid to stand up, universe, and say what you need to be saying. You know what I mean? I'm talking about the end of history. This is a CIA report that was declassified about Adam and Eve and the Great Flood. So that's where I'm at, you guys. That's what I'm reading. Across the continent, 1,000 miles per hour wind wreaks the unholy... Oh, I read that one, huh? Within 3 hours, the fantastic wall of water moves across the continent, bearing a wind-ravaged land under 2 miles of seething water coast to coast. I read that too. Few lucky ones who managed to find shelter from the screaming wind on the lee side of the Pike Peak watched the sea of molten fire break through the quaking valleys below, and raging water flow, piling higher and higher, steaming over the molten earth fire and rising almost to their feet. Only great mountains such as these can withstand a cataclysm onslaught. So, like I've been telling my friends and telling them, they live in California, they're in the valley. Check it out, man. One of those sides of the mountains is going to come down. So pick them wisely, right? This has been declassified in the 24th of June, 2013. CIA RDP 79B 00752A. You know what I mean? There's a whole bunch of fucking numbers underneath it. This is sanitized copy approved for release. So they already took out all the good stuff, right? North America is not alone in death throes. Central America suffers the same concave wind, earth, fire, and inundation. South America finds the Andes not high enough to stop the cataclysm violence profounded by the nature in her berserk rage. In less than a day, Ecuador, Peru, and western Brazil are shaken madly by the devastating earthquake. Burned and molten earth fire buried under cubic miles of torrential Pacific Sea and then turned into frozen hell. Everything freezes. Man, beast, plant, and mud are all rock hard in less than 4 hours. Europe cannot escape the onslaught. The raging Atlantic piles higher and higher upon itself, following the screeching wind eastward. The Alps, the Pyrenees, Urals, and the Scandinavian mountains are shaken and heaved, and even higher the wall of water strikes. So this is ANTS Goddess Radio. We're just going to read a little bit more of this unseed, the classified part of sanitized copy approved for release of, and this is called, just to let you guys know, The Adam and Eve Story by Chan Thomas. You know what I mean? So where are we at? So we're right here, I think. South Africa finds the Indies, and we already read that. We're down here. Europe cannot escape the onslaught. The raging Atlantic piles higher and higher upon itself. We did this one. Western Africa and the sands of the Sahara vanish in nature's wrath under savage attack by winds in the ocean, and the area bound by the Congo, south of Africa, Kenya, suffers only severe earthquakes and wind, no undulation. Survivors there marvel at the sun standing still in the sky for nearly half a day. Well, isn't that biblical? I think that's biblical. Eastern Siberia and the Orient suffer the strange fate indeed, as though a giant subterranean sheath sweeps. It's a sheath. What do you call them? Oh, like the Reaper would carry. A sheath. A sheath? A sheath. Anyway, sweeps away the earth foundations, accompanied by the winds in a screaming symphony of supersonic death and destruction. As the Arctic Basin leaves its popular home, Eastern Siberia, Manchuria, China, and Burma are subject to the same annihilation as South America. Wind, earth, fire, inundation, and freezing. Jungle animals are shredded to ribbons by the wind, piled into mountains of flesh and bone, and buried under an avalanche of seawater and mud. Then comes the terrible, paralyzing cold. Not man, nor beast, nor plants, nor earth is left unfrozen in this entire Eastern Asian continent, most of which remains below sea level. Scary thing. So, Earth is left unfrozen in its entire Eastern Asian continent, most of which remains below sea level. East of the Urals, the Western Siberia, a few lucky people survived the fantastic winds and earthquake. Antarctica and Greenland, with their ice caps now rotated around the Earth in a torrid zone. Now, that's to me talking about this. It's talking about the planet when it came in. Planet X, the Buru, when it came in, Wormwood, and it flipped our planet. And it says this in the Bible, that the sun, God made the sun stand still for a half a day. And I think this dude's like putting it all together. You know what I mean? Pretty interesting, Chan Thomas. Let's see, in the CIA. let's say. So then the ice caps now rotated. Now, meaning they rotated. They were up in the top, frozen, right, around the earth towards zones, and the fury of the wind and the duration marches for 6 days and nights. During the 6th day, the ocean starts to settle in her new home, running off the high grounds. On the 7th day, the Hydrois rampage is over. The Arctic ice age is ended, and a new Stone Age begins. The ocean, the great homogenizer, have laid down another deep layer of mud over the existing strata of the Great Plains, as exposed in the Grand Canyon, Painted Desert, and the Badlands. So, our world flips. The Arctic turns over. Greenland turns over. The ice caps are now rotated. You know what I mean? The whole land has been capsized, right? By water, by fire, right? That's what's been going on. So, this document has been released as a sanitized copy by the CIA. It's got some document numbers on it. I've read it a few times, but every time I go up to do that, I miss where I'm at. So, we're going to go on. On the 7th day, the horrendous rampage is over. The Arctic ice age is ended and a new Stone Age begins. The ocean, the great homogenesis, have laid down another deep layer of mud over the existing strata in the Great Plains and exposed the Grand Canyon, Painted Desert, and Badlands. The Bay of the Bengal Basin, just east of India, is now at the North Pole. The Pacific Ocean, just west of Peru, is at the South Pole. Meaning our whole country, our whole world flipped upside down. You know, she had a big old fit, and she said, I'm not having your crap anymore. I'm destroying it, Mother Gaia, Earth. Right? I said, I'm flipping you guys, man. I'm done with it. CIA documents. So she flipped us over. Everything went crazy. And we went on a rampage. You know what I mean? And a few people lived in different places. And that's what it's telling us, right? And it started the Stone Age, right? And it's telling us that the North Pole is now where the South Pole is, and the South Pole is now where the North Pole is. How interesting is that, right? I don't know. Pretty cool if you ask me. Anyway, so let's get back to it, okay? This is AMKS Goddess Radio, saying what you think and are too afraid to say. So now that we've flipped our world and the planet Nubia had stopped our sun for a day and a half, and the winds ripped through and made a shredded mess of all the animals and everything, the bisons and the mammoths, right? On our South Pole, now, just west of Peru, Greenland and Antarctica now rotating equatically in the Triad Zone, find their ice caps dissolving madly in the tropical heat. Massive walls of water and ice surge towards the ocean, taking everything from the mountain to plains in gushing heaves and paths, creating immense seasonal moraines. In less than 25 years, the ice caps were gone, and the oceans around the world rise over 200 feet, with newfound water in the torrid zone, will be shrouded in a fog of generation from enormous amounts of moisture pour into the atmosphere by the melting ice caps. That's what's going on right now, it sounds like, right? Right? I'm talking about Adam and Eve. Or as my friend would say, Adam and Steve. You know what I mean? Anyway, that's my friend right there. You know what I mean? They love me so much. You know? I'm feeling better, thank you. So anyway, this is talking about yeah. Now what do I do? Anyway, so the Bay of the is talking about this torrid zone, shrouded by fog of generation. The new ice caps begin to form in a new polar areas. Greenland and Antarctic emerge with a vibrant tropical foliage. Australia is a new unexplored continent in the North Temperate Zone, with only a few handfuls of survivors populating its vastness. New York lies at the bottom of the Antarctica, shattered, melted by the earth, fire, and covered by unbelievable amounts of mud. Of the San Francisco and Los Angeles, not a trace is left. Egypt emerged from the Mediterranean in undulation, new and higher. I've had diarrhea. I don't know if this is going to work. Diarrhea and been sleeping for a week. Anyway, there it is. So the fire covered the unbelievable amounts of mud in San Francisco and Los Angeles. Not a trace is left. This is declassified. Sanitized copy approved for release on June 24, 2013 by the CIA. It's got a long number, -108. Anyway, Egypt emerges from the Mediterranean in undulation, new and higher, still the land of the ages, and the commonplace of our time, becomes the mysterious Baalbek of the new era. New era, yes. Cataclysm has done its work. Well, the greatest population regulator of all does once more for man what he refuses to do for himself, and drives the pitiful few who survive into the new Stone Age. Once more the earth has shifted in 60 miles thick shell, with poles moving almost to the equator in a fraction of a day. Again the atmosphere and the ocean, refusing to change directions with the earth's shell, have wiped out almost all life. After this tumble, we join Noah, Adam and Eve, Atlantis, Mu, Olympius. Jesus joins Horus, Takhtara, Zeus, and Zithu. Well, that's great. The Great Floods is the next one. Okay. Now, Noah, Adam and Eve, Vishnu, Horus, what do they all have in common? They represent eras of age apart, and yet somehow they all joined at hands to the next cataclysm, and they walk with us. This is a really intense story, this guy right here, right? There are others who walk with us too, men of science, long forgotten, those who foresaw that these trembles and cataclysm catastrophics, catalysm, catastrophes, or revolutions of the earth shell have happened before countless times. J. Andrew Deleuze in 1779. That's great. My friend is sick in Memphis. Alright, now I'm going back to reading. I'm sorry, guys. So they're talking about there's been other scientific men from 1779, and George Cuvier, aerologist, joined the census as he did in 1812. You know what I mean? And J. Andrew Deleuze Jr., von Busch, they all agreed that the cataclysms were caused by sudden revolutions of the surface of the earth. Not by atmospheric disruption. No, that couldn't happen. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, so the world gets pissed off at us and it just flips us over? No. Something's got to make it change. You know what I mean? The unparalleled collaborative research and this guy said it before, stratigraphy, comparative anatomy, and the paleontology, people that study their body and people that study the animals. At the time he wrote, every part of the earth, every hemisphere, every continent exhibits the same phenomenon. There has therefore been a succession of variations of economical, of organic nature. A various catastrophe which have disturbed, now this is good, the strata have given rise to numerous shiftings to the continental basin. Like there's, something made us flip. It is of much importance. The mark of these repeated interruptions and retreats of the sea have neither been slow nor gradual. On the contrary, most of the catastrophes which occasioned them have been sudden, and this is especially easy to be proved with regards to the latest of these catastrophes. I agree, therefore, with M.M. Deleuze and Dolumelu in thinking that if anything in geology be established, it is that the surface of our globe has undergone a great sudden revolution, the date of which cannot be much earlier than 5,000 or 6,000 years ago. Also, one preceding revolution at least had put the continents under water, perhaps 2 or 3 eruptions of the sea. So, anyway, if you guys are out there and you want to chat, you can hit me up, Facebook, chat me. You know what I mean? This is AMKS Goddess Radio. And I am saying what you are afraid to think about saying, you know what I mean? Let's talk about the end of the world. The world as we know it, and I feel fine. I feel fine. Anyway, so I took a shower, wiped my butt, and here I go, right? Some more stuff. School's in Every time a plasmic concept has come to life, the beast has been stoned, burned at the stake, beaten to a pulp, and buried with vagrants. But the corpse simply won't stay dead. Each time it rises the lid of its coffin and says, sepulchral tones, you will die before I. The latest of the challengers is Professor Frank C. Hyben, who in his book, The Lost Americans, said, this was no ordinary extinction of the vague geological period which fizzled to an uncertain end. This death was catastrophic and all-inclusive. What causes the death of 40 million animals? The corpses, dilated in the mystery, may be found almost anywhere. Their bones lie bleaching in the sands of Florida and in the gravels of New Jersey. They weather out of the dry trenches of Texas and protrude from the sticky ooze of the tar pits off Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. The body of the victims are everywhere. We find literally thousands together, young and old, fall and dam, calf and cow. The muck pits of Alaska are filled with evidence of the universal death, a picture of quick extinction. Any argument as to the cause must apply to North America, Siberia, and Europe as well. The mammoth, the bison, were torn and twisted as though by a cosmic hand in a godly rage. In many places, Alaska's muck blanketed in a packed with animal bones and debris and trial loads lots. Mammoth, mastodon, bison, horses, wolves, bears, and lions. A funeral population in the middle of some cataclysmic catastrophe was suddenly frozen in the grim Chardonnay. Fantastic winds, volcanic burning, inundation, and burial in muck, preservation by deep freeze. Any good solution to a consuming mystery must answer all of the facts. Challenges Heidman. The challenge wouldn't leave me alone. Like hunger, it gnawed at my subconscious. I could hear the deep tones of the cavalry challenge, find the cause of these events, and still reverberating through the secret halls of the science, ghostly unanswered. I felt Hypen's challenge. Later on, prodding, answer all of these facts. I've decided that the cosmic concept of the catastrophe end, which seems to visit our planet time and time after again, need verification or refutation once and for all. The first step was to gather all of the knowledge, gather all of the known and accepted data from the many earth science as possible. Now these are the words I'm just going to go for it. The stratigraph, the archaeology, the anthropology, the palynology, radiology, oceanography, and semenology, and glaciology, and many other fields. Correlation of the data between the sciences gave the other answer, although there isn't enough data in each science to indicate that these catalysms happened. There was not enough to prove the concept, but between science correlations showed indeed that the concept was true. Not only did it verify that the events have happened, but disclosed when the last 5 catalysms were, and what position in the shell of the Earth has been for the last 35,000 years. Ooh, this is AMKS, Goddess Radio. Getting ready to go out, set out. And we're on page 11, so if you guys can remember that, This is a CIA declassified part, sanitized, I love the word sanitized, copy, approved for release, from June 24th, 2003. CIA RDP 79B00752A. 000300070001-8. Thanks for listening.